Have you ever stopped to think that everything you were taught about money, work, and success might be completely wrong? Not just a little wrong, but so outdated that it could actually be the very reason you feel stuck right now. Think about it. You were probably told to go to school, get good grades, find a stable job, work hard, save what you can, pay your debts, and maybe one day, if you're lucky, retire with enough to survive. That's the formula we were all given. But here's the truth. That formula doesn't work anymore. It's broken. It's obsolete. And if you keep following it, you will spend your whole life working harder than ever and still wondering why you're not moving forward. Now let me ask you something. Have you ever worked hard, sacrificed, done everything right, and yet felt like you were running in circles? You put in the hours, you save diligently, you play by the rules, but the rules are rigged. You see prices going up, taxes eating away at your paycheck, debt piling up, and opportunities passing you by. And then you look around and notice that a small group of people seem to be living a completely different life. They're not just surviving, they're thriving. They invest, they grow, they travel, they have freedom. And you ask yourself, what do they know that I don't? The difference is not luck. The difference is mindset. The difference is that they were never trapped in the poor mindset, the mindset of scarcity, the mindset of fear. Instead, they learned to adopt what I call the rich mindset, a way of thinking about money, about opportunity, and about life that completely changes the game. And that's what I'm here to share with you today. So let's break it down. A poor mindset looks at money as something to work for. You give your time, your energy, your best years in exchange for a paycheck. You trade hours for dollars. And while there is nothing wrong with working hard, the truth is that time is limited. You only have so many hours in a day, so many days in a year, so many years in a lifetime. If your only plan is to exchange time for money, you will always hit a ceiling. And worse, that ceiling will always be controlled by someone else, your employer, your boss, your company, your government. That is the trap of the poor mindset. Now let's look at the rich mindset. Rich people do not see money as something to work for. They see money as something to multiply. They understand that the goal is not to work for money, but to make money work for you. They create systems, assets, and opportunities that generate income, whether they are working or not. Think about it. While someone with a poor mindset is working 8 hours a day for a paycheck, someone with a rich mindset is building something that pays them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That is the difference. Here's an example. Imagine two people. One works a steady 9-to-5 job, earns a paycheck, saves a little each month, and hopes one day to retire. The other person takes the same effort, but instead of saving money in a bank account where inflation eats away at it, they invest in a small rental property. The first person earns interest so low that it barely keeps up with inflation. The second person, meanwhile, receives rent every month, and that property grows in value over time. After 10 years, the first person has savings that buy less than they did when they started, while the second person has an asset that not only pays them, but has also doubled in value. That's the rich mindset in action. And let's talk about debt. We've been told to fear debt, to avoid it at all costs. But the rich don't fear debt. They use it, they leverage it. Poor people use debt to buy things that lose value. Cars, gadgets, vacations. Rich people use debt to buy things that produce value. Assets, real estate, businesses. Imagine someone borrowing money to buy a luxury car. The moment they drive it off the lot, it loses value. That's poor debt. Now imagine someone borrowing money to buy a property that generates rental income. That's smart debt. The poor mindset says debt is bad. The rich mindset says debt is a tool. But here's the real secret. It's not just about debt or investments or even money itself. It's about how you think. It's about the lens through which you see the world. Poor mindset people look for security. They crave stability. They want a paycheck, a contract, a guarantee. And in doing so, They chain themselves to jobs they don't love, bosses they don't respect, and systems that exploit their time. Rich mindset people, on the other hand, look for freedom. They take calculated risks. They know that nothing is guaranteed, but they also know that if they learn, adapt, and grow, they can create their own opportunities. Now, I want you to think about your own life. How many times have you held back from taking a chance because you were afraid to fail? How many times have you stayed in a job you hated because it felt safe? How many times have you said, "I'll start tomorrow, I'll invest later, I'll take that risk someday," only to realize that someday never comes? That is the poor mindset at work. It's not just about money, it's about fear. Fear of failure, fear of risk, fear of stepping outside the comfort zone. And let me tell you, that fear is costing you your future. Rich people fail too. In fact, they often fail more than anyone else. But here's the difference. They don't see failure as the end. They see it as feedback. Every mistake is a lesson. Every setback is a step closer to success. Thomas Edison famously said, "I didn't fail 1,000 times. I found 1,000 ways that didn't work." That's the rich mindset. Failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is part of success. And while we're on the topic of fear, let's address something important. Many people believe that if they just work hard enough, things will work out. But here's the truth. The hardest working people in the world are not the richest. If hard work was all it took, then construction workers, farmers, factory employees, and laborers would be the wealthiest people alive. But they're not. Why? Because wealth is not built by hard work alone. It's built by smart work. It's built by leverage. It's built by mindset. This is why education matters. Not the kind you get in school, but financial education. Schools teach you how to be an employee. They don't teach you how to build wealth. They don't teach you about taxes, debt, investing, or cash flow. Why? Because the system is not designed to make you rich. It's designed to make you obedient. It's designed to make you a worker, a cog in the machine. But if you take control of your own education, reading books, learning about investments, studying entrepreneurship, you start to break free. You start to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You start to realize that the game is not about working harder, it's about playing smarter. Now let's get practical. How can you start shifting from a poor mindset to a rich mindset today? First, stop thinking about money as something you earn. Start thinking about it as something you grow. When you receive money, don't just ask, "What can I buy?" Ask, "How can I multiply this?" Second, stop fearing debt. Learn how to use it wisely. Don't borrow money to consume. Borrow money to invest. Third, stop chasing security. Chase freedom. Ask yourself, am I making this decision out of fear or out of growth? Another important step, surround yourself with people who think differently. If you spend all your time with people who complain about their jobs, who blame the government, who fear risk, guess what? You will adopt their mindset. But if you spend time with people who are building, creating, investing, taking risks, you will start to think like them. Jim Rohn once said, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Choose those people wisely." And here's something you must never forget. Cash is trash. If you're hoarding money in a savings account, you're losing. Inflation is eating away at it every single day. Rich people know this. That's why they don't save. They invest. They buy assets that produce income. They understand that money is like a soldier. It needs to be sent out into battle to bring back more. If you lock it away, it becomes useless. But if you put it to work, it multiplies. Let me share a story. There was a young man who worked tirelessly, saving every dollar he could. He prided himself on being frugal, on never spending unnecessarily. After 20 years, he had saved a small fortune. But when he looked at what his savings could actually buy him, he realized that it was worth less than when he had started. Meanwhile, his friend, who had taken risks, invested in small businesses, and bought real estate, had built a portfolio that paid him every month. The saver had security, but no growth. The investor had freedom. That is the difference. So let me leave you with this thought. The future belongs not to those who play it safe, but to those who are willing to think differently. The poor mindset will tell you to work harder, save more, avoid risk. The rich mindset will tell you to work smarter, invest more, embrace risk. The choice is yours. If this message resonated with you, if something inside you is saying, yes, this is what I needed to hear, then don't ignore it. Hit that subscribe button. Not for me, for you. Because if this struck a chord, it means you're ready. Ready to start thinking differently. Ready to start building freedom instead of just chasing security. Ready to take control of your future. Never forget, money is not the true power. The real power is your mindset. Change your mindset, and you change your life. Now the question is, will you keep playing by the rules of a broken system, or will you finally step up and rewrite your own rules? The choice is yours. And if you're ready, keep watching. This channel is here to guide you step by step, to give you the tools, the inspiration, and the mindset to build the life you deserve. Don't wait. The time is now.